let's go over. It's book club, guys. We are narrowing down to we've after this we've got one chapter left here, and but this week it is chapter 6. It is Disorder in Dinkytown. So talking about the downfalls of Gopher sports. And I tell you what, I bet you Bill Murray wishes he had a golden gopher instead of the gopher he was trying to get on Caddyshack, because he would have caught a golden gopher after reading this chapter.
Yeah.
Without question.
But I believe that gopher is actually shown on the Huntington Bank Stadium scoreboard when they do the gopher at the start of the fourth. Do they still do that?
Do the gopher? I've been to a game, I think, Grant, since the Iowa game we went to.
You're right.
They did it then. They did do it then.
I can confirm that
okay.
that does happen because 2021 against Ohio State in the rain,
Yep.
They did it. We did it. And then last year against Colorado, when nobody was there and paying attention, they still did it. But
I want to see video of Grant doing the gopher. That's something that the world needs to see.
Low key, actually, doing the gopher, like it does more for school spirit. But the best one they have is when they insert the scene from The Lion King when Rafiki has Simba, and they put Goldie's head over Simba, and all the parents put their kids in the air. That is fantastic.
Oh, it's so good.
That's the best. That's the best one. You get a little nostalgia, takes us back to our childhood, some Lion King music, and parents just throwing their kids in the air. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and this one starts off with a ultimate what if, and the most Midwest, if you have snow in your region story ever is the Gophers had a chance to hire John Wooden, and he was gonna, and the issue was Minnesota's wanted him to keep the former head coach as an assistant. Wooden said no, and they were going to get back to him. Snowstorm allegedly hits. There's, depending on the weather reports you look at, it was the temperature ranged from 39 to 78 degrees. Not snowstorm weather.
No.
And Wooden was supposed to be getting a call. He never got a call at the certain time he was supposed to have it. He takes the UCLA job. The rest is history. Minnesota hires who is this? Ozzie Cowles, who had coached 11 years for the Gophers, had a solid career, but it was no John Wooden career.
Well, that guy coached 11 years for the Gophers, and John Wooden won 11 national titles.
Yes.
Yeah. So that pretty much says it all right there. I can't get over the fact that you want to move on from the head coach, previous administration, but you still want to keep him in the building and have him be your assistant for your new coach. What kind of inept thinking is that? That just doesn't make any sense. That's just straight up dookie.
Well, and then this coach didn't even hire him either, and they just gave him a job in the athletic department, or it was.
So it's like he failed at being a basketball coach, so we're going to give him a promotion to be a coach in our athletic work in the administrative office with the athletic department. What kind of world do we live in where you get rewarded for being bad at your job?
Soft world. Must have been tough back then.
But I thought these kids I thought these people when they were kids walked to school uphill both ways.
Ooh, Grant's starting stuff right now.
I listen to the people in this country who are 70 years and older, and they talk about how rough and tough they are, and they didn't grow up with social media and all this other stuff. But now we're rewarding a guy for being bad at his job. I mean, they say that to us about millennials and Gen Zs. They're no better than us.
It's true.
Yeah.
These old people are just soft.
Maybe we're the tough ones. Maybe we talk about Ethan just talked about it on the last episode. It's a reverse psychology podcast. Maybe that's what they were doing to us, and we're the smart ones that figured it out that it wasn't as tough, but they were just trying to make us tough.
They're salty about it.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
Well, then also these are the type of people who are just upset that they retired 10 years too early, and with the world we live in, prices going up, all their money they saved up is gone, so they have to live off of Social Security. So they're taking out on us for no apparent reason. Hey, we didn't do that. We're paying for you to live. Don't come at me, old person. There's going to be no money when I try to retire. Old people just bug me sometimes, and I'm taking it out on the administration here.
I understand their frustration. They work their entire life to not have to work and have a 401k, and then everything goes up where they have to get jobs. I would be mad too.
Don't take it out on me. Don't call me soft when you don't know who I am.
Well, I don't think anybody who knows you, Grant, would think you're soft. Maybe Ethan would.
Oh, Ethan is a sarcastic clown.
Well, he did move out of his recliner where he says he always sleeps in his recliner and slept on the couch today. So that's pretty weak.
I don't know what it is, but recently it seems like the recliner, for some reason, this is what it is. I've gotten so used to those 6 weeks off sitting on the couch upstairs, which was a little wider.
You're used to it now.
Had a little more room. I'm not used to being kind of jammed in on the recliner.
Makes sense.
And also, I'm not gonna lie, Moneyball was on the TV. Wanted to sprawl out and maybe close my eyes for 15 minutes and snooze.
I fell asleep for more than 15.
I saw an opportunity to get horizontal on the cool leather couch and took it.
Yep.
It's a comfortable couch.
Well, Ethan comes in. Well, you know what? To his defense, I always take the recliner's my chair and he takes the couch. So, you know what? If I want to get horizontal, I had to go to the other couch.
I think I was out within 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I was pretty exhausted.
But it was a warm day. You were out. You spent the whole morning outside.
I was at the zoo all day, petting tigers and lions.
Bears. Oh my.
Yeah, God.
Ethan exotic.
Yeah.
And then got a fantastic.
Give me a show on Discovery.
A fantastic lunch at Sunshine Factory. The guy was in the sun. He had a full belly. He had a drink or two at lunch. He needed a nap.
And cheese curds.
Cheese curds.
Oh, those will tire you out.
He needed a nap, folks.
Put us out.
We call that a good day off.
It sounds nice. I did not get a day off today.
Yeah.
But I have the weekend off, so
I was gonna say,
suck it.
I do too, actually.
I'm not gonna brag too much because come Saturday and Sunday when my alarm, goes off or my body wakes up at 4:45, 5 o'clock, and it's like, all right, let's do this whole work thing.
Loser.
Yeah, so you're not gonna hear me bragging too much.
And speaking of losers, let's go to the next one. Gophers getting to brawl at the barn with Ohio State.
Why is
Ohio State being the losers?
Or Heartbreak?
I
think it was more so just embarrassing. Yeah. For the dad of the Arkansas coach, Bill Musselman, is the Gophers coach, and tempers were flaring at halftime as Ohio State's center was spitting on players. I believe that was.
Now, that you don't do. That's crossing the line right there.
Yep.
You
and he elbowed the Gophers guard. Not shocking. Ohio State being scumbags is the least shocking thing. Ohio State definitely started this, and it was. So it was actually Whitty saying that the center for the Gophers spit on him, which Whitty being the Ohio State center. But I mean, Ohio State does have a history of scandals and lying and covering things up and spreading false things. So
trading chains for tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. Vehicles. We don't have to get into the whole history because we're talking the Gophers here, but Dave Winfield, former Twin great Dave Winfield was on this basketball team, and it was Gophers actually ended up going on to win the Big Ten that season, and then they lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament, 70-56.
But you say this: anytime another man spits on you, hands automatically are being thrown.
Absolutely.
Cooler heads do not prevail here. Someone spits in your face, hands are being thrown.
Any part of my body. If somebody spits on me and it lands on me, hands are getting thrown.
You're going to look like Trent Williams against Richard Sherman after the playoff game. Pop!
I'm just excited that the fans came in and backed the team up. Like, that's fantastic. Go beat the shit out of Ohio State players.
That is hilarious, too. Yeah. Hey, protect your house. Protect the barn.
Literally. Protect the barn.
Yeah, protect the barn, literally. Don't let the people from Central Ohio.
Don't piss the Gophers off.
The Harvard of Ohio, Ohio State, the Harvard of Central Ohio come in and disrespect you. Take them out.
Don't ever mention Ohio State and Harvard in the same sentence again. That's just not accurate.
Dylan, I was making a joke. I was being a sarcastic asshole, saying it's the Harvard of Central Ohio.
It's the Harvard of. I think Ohio University is the Harvard of Ohio.
I don't even know where is Ohio, but here's my thing: is Ohio University in Central Ohio? Because Columbus is in the middle of the state.
It's in Athens, I think, which is closer to Cincinnati. I think. I don't know I'm not well versed in my Ohio geography.
Cincinnati's damn near in Kentucky.
Well, the Cincinnati International Airport is in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Let's look here. Let's see where
Fun Fact
Athens
Friday.
is.
That's a Fun Fact Friday, recorded on a Wednesday, coming out on a Thursday, folks.
That's a good one.
Bang! In honor of Mike Breen and the NBA Finals starting up. Bang!
That's why Cincinnati and Louisville are such big rivals. They're like literally
they're so close to each other.
Same with like Xavier. They're down there.
Oh yeah, God, that's just some good basketball right there.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Athens, it's in like southeast Ohio. It's fairly close to West Virginia.
Okay. Oh, gross.
Uh-huh. The lovely people of West Virginia. But let's go on to another Musselman era story with the Gophers. He is punished for violations here. And right after it, he leaves. It involved some very notable names. Michael Thompson, Klay Thompson's dad, Flip Saunders, the godfather of modern Minnesota basketball, you could say. Dave Winey, I don't know who he is, but they declared him ineligible. The program had over 100 violations, which included players selling game tickets for more than face value and players receiving cash and other freebies that were considered excessive aid from boosters and Musselman. And he left because he claimed that he didn't feel supported by the U of M and took a job coaching in the ABA, the San Diego Sails.
It's pretty obvious the NCAA is just jealous. Minnesota created NIL before it was legal.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
And
they were just a front for the bigger schools so they could pay them. Minnesota was the fall guy.
Yep.
They were the fall guy. Someone else brought the NCAA or Ohio State dropped their drop knife, put it by the University of Minnesota.
They fell so North Carolina could rise.
And so you could take African American underwater basket weaving classes. Which is why Caleb Love was not accepted into Michigan. You can't accept fake credits.
This is true. Now he's at Arizona, which is also a place where players don't go to class.
Well, it's a glorified high school.
Yeah.
Like in Family Guy, when the doctor takes the stethoscope and he puts it on some guy's chest. Yeah, you're breathing. Welcome to Arizona. You're a wildcat.
But of course Musselman just leaves, says hell with it, and then the school and the players who had nothing to do with it have to suffer through it.
Dude, is it just a Minnesota thing for players and coaches to scalp tickets? We had Mike Tice doing it last week. They got the basketball team doing it this week. Like, is that just a thing we're doing here? Do I need to start scalping tickets?
You should.
You should. That's a good moneymaker for you.
I could do it.
And you wouldn't have to. And you probably, if you just force them to pay you in cash, then there's no record. there's no record. You just keep it for yourself. You don't have to
There's
pay
no pa-
taxes on it.
There's no paper trail.
I'm solving your problems here, Grant.
I'm just
You're
gonna have
doing great.
next time I see a guy with a sign that says "I need tickets," I'm gonna give him my tickets
There you go.
and just get cold hard cash
Like
for it. And I take it, I deposit it in the bank, and they look at my ATM statement. It just says deposit of X amount. They don't know if that was a check or cash. Life is good.
Yeah, and then we'll go over to football where the Gophers leave Memorial Stadium to go over to the Metrodome, and the stadium, it was named after the students who served in World War I. And while the Gophers were at Memorial Stadium, they won 6 national titles and 10 Big Ten championships, had 6 unbeaten seasons, and even a Heisman Trophy winner in 1941 by the name of Bruce Smith. But as any stadium, it gets old and needs renovations. Needed anywhere from $3 million to $10.5 million to renovate. And while at the same time, the Metropolitan Sports Facilities Commission. I wonder if that's still a thing.
These guys are
I don't
back
think so.
again.
These guys, they are back again. They were building the Metrodome for the Twins and the Vikings. And the Gophers decided, you know what? We're going to go off campus here. We're going to go and play in the dome. And initially, it worked out okay. Their attendance increased by about 15,000. But then after that, it dropped continuously. It was originally for the first 3 years, they were gonna they were gonna get 35% of concession profits. They would receive free rent and all gate receipts, less than 10% for the Metropolitan Sports Facilities Commission, and the lease was for 30 years, but they could withdraw from the contract at any time during the first 3 years. And Gophers, they went 3-8 that year, but they still drew almost 59,000 people, which was much more, 17,000 more, not 15, than the what they were averaging in 81 at Memorial Stadium. And then, but the atmosphere wasn't what it was at Memorial Stadium, and you could tell that by the end, stadium was always seemed to be half empty, and you could definitely tell when they moved back to when it was TCF Stadium. There was a certain buzz with it back on campus. The atmosphere, it's increased and improved every year, because when the Gophers moved there, the team was not that great under Tim Brewster, but now Flex seems to be able to sell the thing out. They have good fan support, and even the students have started to show up more consistently too over the years too, especially since Fleck has shown up as well. But just a bad decision. And there's some bricks if you want to go see. I believe it's now the Alumni Association is the old Memorial Stadium.
Interesting. I had no idea about that.
Yep, that's new news to me.
The only reason I know that is because they had an old game. It was like Gophers Ohio State. I don't know when, but the Gophers won, and I was like, I've never actually seen a game at Memorial Stadium or Minnesota's Memorial Stadium, because there's like 50 in college athletics. So I started looking at it, and it was, I believe it's part of the Alumni Center. They built like one of the bricks. I think it was brick all around.
Because the whole campus is brick.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what they used to build off the Alumni Center.
Well, if you don't know, now you know. And that's something new I learned today.
And then sticking with Gopher football, Nebraska wishes they could go back to these times. Minnesota, they lost to Nebraska on September 17th, 1983 by 71 points.
That's hard to do.
It was so bad that Tom Osborne actually apologized for scoring so many points, which I think it would fit in because that's kind of a soft thing to do.
Just like just like the older generation.
Yeah, exactly. And then 2 weeks later, they lost to Ohio State 69-18. Head coach Joe Salem was fired after the season.
Oh, good.
Which led the way for Lou Holtz to be hired, but it was 42-10 at halftime, and then the backup took over in the fourth. He added a 51-yard touchdown pass, and he ran for 2 touchdowns. Nebraska ran for 595 yards rushing.
And guys, it's like they had to have just been scoring on like 70, 80-yard runs all the time, because back then, Nebraska, they're running the ball for every single play. They're out of the wishbone, the wing tee. They're just trying to run clock and run time of possession up. Like, the Gophers had to have played no defense on this day.
Yeah, they must not have cared at that point.
Like, Dylan, at your point, those holes had to be bigger than Andre's sister. They're just huge. I mean, there's a chance behind that offensive line that day, guys, us three could have scored.
We could have. It's possible. And Nebraska had a team. Turner Gill was quarterback. Mike Rozier, who I believe won a Heisman Trophy for the Huskers. Those are two solid people to have on your team, and that was in the golden days of Nebraska football.
Is that what Nebraska fans watch these days? Do they just turn on and
absolutely
watch 1985? I mean, because
I think so.
The only thing on their cable package they have is the History Channel.
Yeah. Maybe I should call Nate up and see if that's what he does.
That's probably actually the game he's watching right now. He's thinking about it.
Probably, but we talked about the 71-point loss and then the 69-18 loss carved the way for Lou Holtz to be hired as the Gophers head coach, coming from Arkansas. When he left Arkansas, he had a 60-21-2 record and 6 postseason bowl appearances in 7 years. And now what's known as the Notre Dame clause is he signed a contract for 3, or I think it was 6 years, because he was there. 5 years. He signed a 5-year contract, and he had one stipulation in that he could leave if Notre Dame ever contacted him. Well, they did, and Holtz didn't have the best start, but there was some drastic improvement from they were 1-10 the year before he got there. They went to 4-7 and then 6-5, made it to a bowl game. Since their first one since the 1977 season. And that was around the time when rumors were flying that Notre Dame was going to be firing their head coach. And that was the only job Lou Holtz was going to leave for. Just so happens that he that he took it. And what's funny is that originally he didn't want to take the job because it was cold. And we didn't talk about it in the previous one where the Gophers leave for the Metrodome. But in 1984, when that lease was when the Gophers could have backed out of the lease, he gave an impassioned speech about how the kids want to play in the dome. Now, is he the reason for the downfall of Gopher football? I don't know. And they hired John Gutekunst. I don't know if he's got any relation to Brian. But
don't ask Aaron Rodgers about that.
Yeah. But beat Clemson in a bowl game in his first season. And then he coached for 5 more, but never won more than 6 games. Holtz coached at Notre Dame for 11 years, 130-2 record, won a national title in 88. And then the Vikings there was rumors that the Vikings were going to hire him in 91.
Interesting. It is another case of a Hall of Fame coach where you sit back and you're like, what could have been for Minnesota?
Yeah.
What could have been with Holtz and
John Wooden?
John Wooden. You just don't know.
Would have been quite the duo.
God, it would have been.
That's about as good of a coaching 1-2 punch you could get.
Oh my God, yeah, without question.
I mean, it's no Jim Harbaugh, Juwan Howard, but still pretty close.
Someone's got to come in second place.
I can't believe I said that. That was dumb.
Well,
But the funny part about it is like now that Harbaugh's kind of has some momentum, beating Ohio State twice, and if you pair that up with the run Beeline had from 2013 to when he left, you could make that argument, but now you can't.
Mm-hmm.
But and then going into the 90s, the Gophers, they fall one game short of the Final Four. And when I was reading this one, it almost felt like the Morgan Wallen song, the 98 Braves, where they're in the Sweet 16, they beat a power in Syracuse and felt like they had it won, and they go and give up 40 points, 40 and 30 points to two Georgia Tech scorers. And Georgia Tech shot 30.
Like, the dude's a beast.
Yeah. And that was the furthest they've gotten to that point, the 97 season when they made it to the Final Four, but we already discussed that one. But and they were a senior laden team. They had a coffee. I'm guessing that was Amir's dad, Ethan.
Yes, it was.
Okay. And just what it could have been. The 90, I can't remember who was in the 1990 Final Four, but I want to say that was a UNLV team who
I think they beat Duke, if I'm not mistaken.
It could be. I'll let you guys give your thoughts and I'll look it up.
I don't know, just another sports memory. You come so close and you fall.
Well, and especially in like the best tournament in college sports.
Yeah.
At a school that's typically not a basketball school. In this state, in this season, everyone's focused on hockey, and basketball kind of takes a back burner. You get the people going around you. It rallies the troops, and you just come out and kind of Minnesota style. You just give up 78 points between two players, and you let them take the game over.
Yep, and that Final Four, yes, it was UNLV beat Duke in the national title game. It was UNLV, Duke, Arkansas, and Georgia Tech in the Final Four that year. But very also a good topic, guys, which we should do once we're done with book club, is we think of a team that had us feeling like the 98 Braves. So I'm sure you guys got them in your heads. Don't say it now, but we will get to that. Okay, so just putting the bug in your ear.
I like it.
And we're gonna go into the 2000s, a game that had both Ethan and I, we were involved in. It was Gophers Michigan in 2003. The game was on a Friday because the Twins were playing, and within the contract of the with the Metrodome the priority was always Vikings, Twins, Gophers. So Twins had an afternoon game on Saturday, so that Michigan-Minnesota game got moved up to Friday. And Minnesota was up 28-7 going into the fourth quarter. And Michigan scored on a 10-yard touchdown pass to make it 28-14. And then Minnesota's quarterback threw a pick six, make it 28-21. And then the Gophers got back up 35-21. But Michigan did not quit. John Navari hit Braylon Edwards on a 52-yard touchdown pass to get him within 7. And then 6 minutes to go, Michigan got a stop, got the ball back, scored on a 10-yard touchdown run to tie it at 35. And then Michigan kicks a field goal in the final minutes. The Gophers lose 38-35. Now, I don't know if you remember this game, either of you guys remember this game, but I do, because it was weird that they were playing on a Friday, and I didn't know that it was because of the Twins until later. But Michigan was getting their ass kicked so bad that I was kicking, screaming, having a fit, that we had to turn the TV off. And after I cooled down a little bit, I got to watch it, and all of a sudden it was 28, 35, 21 or 35, and they came back to win. And I remember it went from similarly, which I was a second or third grader at the time, a similar story of drunken disappointed to drunken disorderly in a matter of minutes.
I actually didn't move to Minnesota till I want to say 2006, so I never really paid attention to the Gophers at all prior to moving here, so I don't remember this game.
Okay, Grant, do you remember anything about this game?
I do, because Dylan, to your point, like you said, it was a Friday night, which is kind of at the house watching the game, and this was the first game where I remember in like my sports viewing career, we'll call it, that I was like, oh my God, this team's gonna blow away a lead on a game they should have won. This shouldn't happen. Like, they shouldn't have lost that game. How do you have a lead like that and just blow it like that? Just kind of like in a state of shock or something. And my parents were both hoping the Gophers would have won because they're rooting against Michigan that day. Anytime you can get a blue blood to lose on the road to a team they shouldn't lose to, everyone's going to root for that. And it's just like they got this huge lead, and then you watch them just kind of give it away, and it's like, oh my, that's the first time I've ever seen that. And it's like, this is allowed to happen. Like, you're up 21 points. You should win the game, right? But nope, the Gophers just decided to say, we don't want it. Michigan, you can take this victory.
Yeah, and that was the year Michigan had a really good team. They beat Ohio State that year. They played USC, and if they beat USC, won the national title or split a national title. Michigan wins, they technically would have a full national title if you count the 97. I think they would have whooped Nebraska's ass, if you ask me. And they would have beat, I think it was split with LSU. They would have beat LSU.
USC can claim that they're co-national champs all the time. Here's my question. I get it was the BCS system, blah, 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 blah. Where's their pitcher with the trophy? Oh, that's right. It's in Baton Rouge. Don't give me that split championship nonsense. Kind of like those clowns at Central Florida in 2017.
Hey, come on, they have a cop car.
I don't give a damn about that. Where's your pitcher with the trophy?
Well, that is actually what prompted the national title game, was that split national title in 2003.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because at that point, that was when they just decided that the Sugar Bowl was going to be a national title game. Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, those were considered the national title. Yeah, Orange Bowl national title games, and then the NCAA decided, we could play all those games, and then we could have another game on top of that as just the national title game.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how we got the playoffs. That's expanding. Dan's notes was, Dan, I didn't want to do this, but you know what? That's why you don't celebrate until the clock hits 0, okay? You don't say bring out the jug, especially against Michigan, especially because you haven't even won at home since the 70s against Michigan. So you just gotta know your place, buddy.
It's gonna be great when Gophers bring it home this year, though.
Ethan's got jokes.
McNamara, whatever his loser name is, just sucking ass right then. U.S. Bank or TCF, whatever bank it is. It's gonna be
Huntington.
great.
Huntington.
You don't even know it. You don't even know it.
I'm just upset.
Michigan's worried about the Gophers.
I'm just upset JJ McCarthy's girlfriend has not accepted my Instagram follow request
Yeah,
yet.
true
Still
that.
hasn't?
She still hasn't.
I would cancel when we try. People might have forgot, so now she'll see it.
It's not like I'm gonna message her and say, "Hey, baby," because she's way too good looking for me. But come on.
We know that.
I mean, I just saw an attractive girl in Phoenix, Arizona, and then I saw the girl she was standing next to, and I was like, okay, she's clearly JJ's girlfriend, and that's the sister next to her. It was obvious. In the words of Alec Miller, she stuck out like a dick in a cake. But yeah. And I don't even remember this girl's name, so it's not like I can go back to her account and cancel the request. It's still hanging there.
Well, when we're done recording, I'll look it up and get back to you on it.
Or she just straight up
Uh,
declined me, which
She could
I
have.
actually kind of hope she would have, because like you said,
That'd be
she's way
hilarious.
too,
I mean, she actually knows who you are.
yeah.
Yep.
Because let's be honest, she is way too pretty for me. But I think she's also a Cubs fan, so
I think she's on. I think she's on to you.
I don't know about that.
Better check your Instagram.
Even if she was, Grant wouldn't talk to her anyways.
I wouldn't know what to say.
I saw you on TV.
My name is Potato.
I saw you on TV. My name is Potato.
You would be like the Chris Farley SNL video where he's interviewing John Lennon. Hey, you remember when you played with the Beatles? That was awesome, man.
That was awesome, man. Yeah, yeah.
But
So Grant, what do you do in your free time? Lift weights. What else? That's about it.
potatoes.
Potatoes. What kind of protein do you eat? I'd ask stupid questions like that. It would be an absolute disaster.
But and we'll go on where Holy Cross upsets the Gophers in the NCAA tournament. Anytime my former coworker, he went to UND, and anytime the Gophers and UND play, he doesn't wear UND stuff. He wears a Holy Cross hockey shirt as a troll job. Minnesota had 7 power plays in this game. They were number 1 in the country for most of the year, and they, in typical Minnesota fashion, lose.
Just like this year against Quinnipiac.
Yep. And that was they